If you're trying to sell everything to everybody and not seeing the revenue growth you want, in this video, I'm going to show you how to narrow it down to a niche and make that happen. What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan, and we are back with another week's worth of content talking about industrial marketing. If you guys are new to the content, every week I go live on Tuesdays, but that's not all we do here. Head over to YouTube, type my name, and we've got over 1,700 videos talking about industrial marketing, industrial sales, how to stand out, how to get attention, all about those industrial manufacturing companies. Whether you're doing a service or a product, I got you covered with a strategy that works today. How do I know that? Besides being in the industry for 24 years, it's all that I know. For the last 9 years, started MFG Tribe, and we are an industrial marketing agency. We help companies, a vast range of companies across all their digital footprint, whether it's social, web, SEO, paid media, CRM, automation, email marketing, trade show, event planning, video content, article writing, everything under the sun, strictly for industrial manufacturing companies. And that's why today's episode, talking about a niche or a niche, depending on how you say it, is super relevant because I got 9 years of experience in it, plus helping companies that are in those niches of industrial, helping them stand out and get attention. If you want to listen to this in a podcast format, every major podcast platform has the content up there if you want to listen to this while you're cutting the grass or getting your nails done. It don't matter. We got you covered. Number one, you have to pick a niche. So that's the question. Are you in a niche? Are you doing everything for everybody in your manufacturing world? Do you have criteria? Do you have an ideal customer profile? Let's talk about it a little bit. A wise man said the riches are in the niches, and also that snitches get stitches, but we'll just talk about the riches that are in the niches. If you are an expert in a specific area, and that's the only area you focus on, you can charge more for that knowledge, experience, and focus than if you say, I do everything for everybody. That's why people create products and services specific to some sort of niche. It does not, the niche can be anything under the sun. You can take us, for instance. We are a B2B/B2C marketing agency that only works with industrial manufacturing companies. That's a niche. I could take that niche further and say we only work with industrial companies that are in plastics. Now, the issue with that is that now you're taking your TAM, or your total available market, and shrinking it down so small. And if you want to go super big with your company, that's going to be difficult. You guys on the industrial side, you can say we only do robotic integrations for military and Department of Defense, and that's your niche. You know everything about those two industries. Or I make machine components only for aerospace, automotive, and medical. That's like not really a niche. That's more industry focused. But if you said we only do turning or CNC turning, or we're only a screw machine shop for these industries, like there's so many different ways that you could do it. You can do it based on industry. Let's write that up on the board so people have a visual. And we want to use all these cameras. So you could do it based on industry. You could do it based on the service or the tech. I mean, these are the two biggest things to do. Or you could do it based on, I don't even think you could do it based on geography. I'm going to say industry or service tech to keep it simple. So you can say we do this specific thing, or my product is specifically to this type of company in these industries. So you're like an industry niche. You don't mess with health, like biotech, med device, stuff like that. You only do automotive, which that'll tank you quick. We learned things from '08. So you only do automotive and aerospace. Or you only do aerospace, defense, and medical. Like, so you could say my industry is my niche, who I serve, as long as there's industries that you don't serve that do have a need. If you just say, oh yeah, we're in a niche, we serve these 7 industries. Yeah, but if there's not 3 other industries that need what you do that you don't touch, you're really not in a niche. The further down that you go into your niche, like I said, the more you can charge, but the smaller the market is. The TAM, TAM, total available market. So you can start with an industry, or you can go on the service side. We are a Swiss screw shop. That's all that we do. We don't do like complex CNC turning. We don't do one-off parts. You can say we're a prototype shop. All we do is prototypes. A lot of times the prototype shops end up doing production because that's really where the money is, because that's repeatable monthly recurring revenue, annual recurring revenue. You got a project, you're making parts every month, every quarter, etc. But you got to pick some sort of niche. If you're a 3D prototype, we do FDM, SLS, SLA, or we only do production printed parts. We do a little bit of prototype, but we are a production printing house. That's what we do. So you got to pick what it is and look at yourself right now. Are you in a niche? Ask yourself that question. Is there a specific service that you only offer one or maybe two services and that's it, nothing else? And you could offer adjacent services, and I'm not talking value add services. A lot of people will be like, "Oh no, yeah, so we do CNC machine shop turning, we do injection molding, but we don't do brazing or broaching or heat treating, or we don't do heat staking or assembly on the plastic side. We don't do that. We only do this." That you're not in the niche. So start there. And the reason why is that you can be very, very focused if you say, I'm only going after these people. But you better make sure that that niche has enough market to satisfy your appetite for growth. Because you can get too focused into a niche and look at it and be like, yeah, my goal is to take my company from 1 million to 20 million. Well, but the market's not there to give you 20 million. You have to take off all the competition in the United States to get to 20 million, which that's not feasible or probable to happen. So your share of it is only going to be like 1.7 million. And if you can do that, if you're comfortable with that size of a company, and that's your goal, perfectly fine. It works out great. But if you've got a bigger appetite, then it's not going to work. So when you're looking at your niche, when you're looking at your services, what do you want to be known for? Because if you go into any situation, this is on the value proposition side, sales or marketing. Yeah, we're a machine shop. We do all types of machining, every type of material. And we do CNC machine milling, turning, et cetera, et cetera. We have all these auxiliary equipment, value add services, et cetera, that we can do for your part. And we can do it for all industries. You're like a me too type company. So it's like, oh, they do that, me too. So that's a fine business plan, and it can work if your marketing is there to break into those people and you do good quality work. You can grow and scale to be big because the market is massive. But when the market is massive and your services are massive and wide, so is your competition. So now you're dealing with a lot of different people. If I started this agency and said we are a B2B marketing agency, now I've got, I don't know, 5,000, 50,000 agencies in the United States, plus all of the one-man bands, one-man shows that are like, oh yeah, I got a little popularity on LinkedIn, and now I've got an agency where I'm going to help people on that. So now I'm competing with them too. Plus I'm competing with people on Fiverr and Upwork and freelancers and all that. So like my competition is massive. Even though we're in a niche, my competition is still big because now you've got agencies, big and small, one-person agencies to 100-person agencies that say, oh yeah, we do manufacturing too. But that's not what they typically focus on. It's small market share, so they don't really, really know it. So we do have competition of people that aren't in the niche. We have that group of people that are like only industrial, only manufacturing. Then all of us in that space and that niche have the rest of the market. B2B, my friend's buddy's sister's cousin owns an agency or knows somebody that works in an agency, and they do a little bit of manufacturing, so we're going to use them. So that's where the value proposition comes in. Focus on your niche. Number two, so if after you pick it or after you know it or after you already have it, really figure out, what is it? Is it a niche or is it just BS? Number two is going to be learn where they live. Where is your target demographic? Where do they spend their time? What things matter to them? What are they paying attention to? What trade shows are they going to? You have to figure all of that out, because you can't possibly create a marketing strategy without knowing where you're going to get the attention from. Because once you know where you're going to get the attention from and where those people are living, then you create the strategy to handle each one of those verticals of the attention platform. So for example, you know that they go to trade shows. You know that your industry goes to Pack Expo, which is happening in 45 days. You know they go to FabTech, which we're going to be at in like 13 days. We're going to be there. We're flying out in 10 days, which is crazy that it's 10 days away for us. but they're going to be at FabTech. Okay. So if you know that your niche has 7 trade shows a year, then you have to have some sort of marketing strategy or plan of like, which ones are you going to attack? Which ones make sense? Not necessarily to exhibit at, maybe you're just walking it. Maybe you're just advertising to the people that are going to it through various guerrilla style marketing strategies, which we have some crazy stuff we're doing over the next 2 weeks. But you have to figure that out first. Then you take a step back. Okay, are they on LinkedIn, social? They're not on Twitter. They're not going to probably be on Facebook or Instagram. Are they on LinkedIn? Yes, they're on LinkedIn. If I ask you, can you show them to me? Do a search right now. Show them to me. Who are you going after? And you can do a filtered search and get down to an audience that's like, yep, this is my audience. Like roughly 80% of these people I would sell and market to. Okay, cool. So you know that they're on LinkedIn. You know the job function of who's you're trying to make the, or who is the decision maker and who are the influencers. You know you have to go after ops, purchasing, HR, facility services, engineering, whatever it is. You know that. And you can find them on LinkedIn. And you do a little bit of research to say, how often are they on there? Are they posting? Are they engaging? Are they sharing? What's going on here? Do a little bit of research. Okay, we know that they're on LinkedIn. We know they go to trade shows. We know they're on LinkedIn. We know that they're Google searching because there's volume behind it. We don't know if it's specifically them, but we know that there's enough volume, a few hundred to a few thousand a month searches on the phrase of what you do. Swiss screw machine shop or CNC machining company. CNC machining for aerospace. Somebody's searching that. Competition, yes. People offshore, yes. But your customer, potential customer, is also in that group. We don't know what percentage of it is because you don't know who they are. You just know that they're searching that phrase. If they say CNC machine shop for aerospace near me, they're looking for a service most likely. So you know that they're searching, so you have to be present and some strategy to SEO. And then you can go and say, are they consuming content? Are there other people on YouTube in my niche? If I create videos in my niche and I put them on YouTube, how much competition do I have? That's what it all comes down to, is how many other people are in the space? What are they saying and doing about their marketing, their content, and where are the holes or the gaps in that? Because if they're not doing video, you could own that space very quickly. So like take CNC machining. There are a lot of people that have podcasts and are doing videos. How many people are machinists that are going live? How many people are machinists that are providing value with their content? Are they just saying like, look at this cool thing that I made? Or are they saying, look at this cool thing that I made. Let me show you how I made it. Let me show you the troubles that I had when I was programming it, designing it, etc., and how we overcame that. Are you going to be like that educational resource for them? Or are you going to show them cool stuff, which there's no right or wrong way. Each way is creating content and standing out. We have to look at the market and see where's all the noise and where are the gaps in it, and how can I be creative to stand out? You go to IMTS, everybody's at IMTS, 80,000 people, 60,000 people, 1.4 million square feet of space. So much noise, so much attention, so much stuff going on. How are you going to get attention from those people? You have to go out and hand like them something? Are you gonna have to go up and introduce yourself to everybody? Are you gonna do some marketing beforehand, after the show, during the show? Like, what are you doing to stand out? Because if you're a Me Too company and you don't have that niche, you're just gonna be like, okay, yeah. So what separates you guys? And like I've said in other videos, if you can't use your quality, you can't use your engineering, and you can't use your shipping speed or on-time delivery, if those 3 are gone, what is your value proposition? And this is when you ask industrial companies that, this is where they struggle, because they typically go, we can make the most difficult parts. Okay. So does the other guy say the same thing? Yeah, but we've been doing it for 20 years. Okay. The other guy's been doing it for 10. So you got to figure out your value proposition in that space. And if you haven't gone through that process, then you need to understand, what are people saying that are my competition about out there? Where are they marketing? Where's my opportunities to take leverage and market share away from them, to be different, to stand out? And then you have to wait and create the content, live in that space, and then wait and see the results. Number 3, promote. Number 3, promote. You have to promote yourself. You have to do marketing. You have to create content. You have to do ads. You have to do everything possible to scream your message and what it is that you do and how you are better and how you are different consistently over a long period of time, and do it daily, weekly, monthly, and not expect to get anything in return for a small period of time. You have to be sending out emails, building lists, active on LinkedIn, sending connection requests, engaging with people, create content for your website, have more pages on your website, have your website optimized. When people search, you want to show up. When people aren't searching, you want to go in front of them and try and entice them to click on something and come to your site. You have to be doing all this. Without this, if you're just basing your growth of your company on referrals, you will die eventually. Referrals should be an aspect of the source of your leads, but you have to look at all the sources. You should be getting sources from some sort of search. You should have people engaging on some sort of advertising. You should have people responding to emails. You should have people coming in from social and referrals. So like those 5 off the bat, you can add in trade shows. You can add in associations. The goal is just, you got to be everywhere. You may not know. If you don't have a team like ours here to tell you exactly what to do and how to do it, then you're going to have to do some trial and error. Go back through all my video content. We've got numerous strategies out there that say, oh, you want to go account-based marketing? Forget account-based marketing, do industry-based marketing. Here's how to do it. Here are the steps. Here are the steps. Here are the tools. We've got all those videos on my channel. I post this content all the time. And people still are like, I don't really know what to do or how to do it. Go back through it. If you don't want to do it yourself, then just fill out a form, book some time with my sales guys, and we'll do it for you. But it's just, if you don't know that, you have to do some sort of trial and error. But you can't do trial and error over like 2 weeks or 30 days. Like do it over like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. See if you're getting attention. See if there's things, that there's indicators that are showing you that this is going in the right direction. You don't have to just say, I'm going to go to this trade show, and if I don't get 46 leads, I'm never going again. You can say, I'm going to this trade show. My goal is to get 20 solid leads for my company, whether you're exhibiting or walking it. My goal is 20. If you end up getting 6, that doesn't mean that you failed, because if you get 6 good leads, but you had 60 conversations, or you're in a show or a podcast that's live center stage or something like that, or you met somebody and networked and had a relationship with somebody that then could lead to more networking and business down the road, that is a successful trade show. So it doesn't have to be black and white of like, what's the ROI on that? Because some things you can't track ROI. You can't track brand awareness with ROI. You can't track networking with ROI. A conversation could result in a network and a friendship, and a partnership could result in a lot of potential opportunity down the road, as long as you see it like that. But if you see it as like, yeah, no, I met with a bunch of people, I talked to a bunch of people, but nothing really came from it, then you're going to be missing the stuff that's in between, like that gray area. It's like not black and white. It's the in between that's like, this is good. You went down, like that was worth your time. The universe will reward you back tenfold if you continue to go out there and be like, I'm going into this with good, high expectations, with a good vibe, good energy, positiveness, and I'm going to go and try and get 20 people that say, hey, you know what? Let's schedule a time to talk because I have some parts for you to make, or I have a project that needs your automation integration, or I have a need for these tools or these products, or that could solve my problem, or my facility is falling apart, or my interior roof does need to be painted white and cleaned up, and it'll brighten up, or I do need new T9, T12, T16 lights put in. Like I need that, and those come from conversations. So go into it with that mindset. Understand that everyone at your company is always selling, always promoting, but you don't have to seem like it. I could have spent this whole last 30 minutes talking about why we're the best, but why? I'm just here to provide you with value. If you get value out of it and you use it, great. If you want to share it with someone you know, great. If you want to use us to do your marketing for you, double great. But I'm just going into it like, hey, I'm going to give you the information and you do with it what you want. So you have to go into all situations like that. You're just promoting yourself. You don't have to say, I'm the best. Just you being in the space with a logoed shirt. Somebody say, hey, what is it that you do? Oh, yeah, so we do this, and that. Oh, do you know anybody that would use this? Oh, yeah, actually, my buddy needs that. Or, oh, it's funny you mentioned that you do that. I was just talking to so-and-so that they need somebody that does what you do. Or, hey, are you currently with this company? I know the person that's in purchasing, ops, or engineering. I can get you an introduction. That's what it's all about. But you got to be promoting yourself. In order to promote yourself, you have to be out there. In order to be out there, you have to be networking, go places, don't stay within your box. If you have to stay within your box because you got 5 kids like me, even though I can travel because I have a wife, but if I didn't and I have 5 kids, I can't travel, I'm going to do it all digitally. I'm going to be in your phone, in your computer, everywhere digitally. Last and certainly not least, number 4, you got to have this. If you don't have it, you're going to be dead. I don't even know. Is that how you spell it? Patience? Is that how you spell patience? Riley, Mr. Smarty Pants, says that that is how you spell it. But there's a specific type of bamboo in China that takes like some ungodly amount of time to grow under the surface. It's like, you'll have to look it up. It's like 8 years or something like that. Nothing happens. But then in like 8 weeks, it grows 60 feet. It's like that. It's like growing grass. All of you guys out there, or most of you guys out there, have yards, or you see yards. If the yard is just dirt and you put down seeds and you water those seeds every day, maybe not every day because you don't want to overwater them, but you're watering them, you're fertilizing them. So much is happening below that surface that you have no idea what's going on. And then usually what happens is people kill it before it sprouts through. And sometimes that time frame is not 60 days. Sometimes it's 6 years to really see it grow. But you should have indications. So it's just like growing grass. You water it, you fertilize, you say, hey, look, I'm going to do this for the next 8 to 12 weeks. And then all of a sudden you see that first blade pop through and you're like, it's working. Then before you know it, everything starts popping. The time frame depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to go from no business to millions of dollars, it could take you multiple years to do. It could take you 6 months. It depends on what you're selling and what you're marketing. But you have to have patience and say, look, if I'm going into this niche, I know for a fact that this is going to take me a while to push my brand into this niche because nobody knows me. I know for a fact that I'm going to be enticed to say, hey, don't go after that niche. Look at all this other stuff that's not in your niche that you need to go after because this is live in front of you, in front of your face. You can do that to get revenue, to then have content to be able to talk about. But you better drop that and focus on that niche as soon as you have enough revenue to pay the bills and say, look, moving forward, I only want to focus on this and be able to say no to those people and yes to the niche people. But you got to be patient. This is not going to be something that is going to happen overnight. Or you could develop a product that solves a problem in a specific niche and then it just pops off. But the services side is a little bit different. There's somebody already doing it in some way. So I've had people come to us and say, we've got one client that is a newer client. It's like, what we have, what we're doing, there is no competition. And I was like, your competition is what people are currently using traditional. Your stuff may be cool, new technology, fancy, etc. Do it way better than what people are used to, but people are still going to search for what they're comfortable with, which is the traditional way. So your competition is the old way, let's just say the old way or the traditional way. And your job is to educate and explain to that market, which is going to be difficult because they're used to doing this thing. Your job is to break through that noise, get their attention for a second and say, hey, my way is better. It'll do X, Y, and Z. Can we have a conversation? That is going to take time. What people usually think is that it's just going to be like, oh, you went out there and you created a website and all of a sudden, hey, I've got all these people banging down my door saying, I want to do business with you. That is not how it works, ever. Unless it's like something so innovative that everybody needs it. Like ChatGPT comes out and it's like, oh my God, AI, prove it with this. Everybody wants it, everybody needs it because you create something that nobody else has been able to create. And now everybody's using it. So gotta have patience. That's what it's all about. Realistic patience, aggressive patience. You gotta still be aggressive while you're waiting and being patient, but never stop learning where they live and promoting your content out there.
So we have a comment from Brandon McKay. He says, "What's up, Kyle? This port strike is a moment in time. We are mid-swing on a proposed pilot with one of the ports and got sidelined by this strike. Just got to keep swimming."
That's right, man. You can't let a little bit of adversity handle the rest of your year, the rest of your month. So something happens, you got to look at it as doors shut, that window's open. What are you going to do about it to capitalize on the opportunity? And honestly, situations like this happen all the time, especially in sales. You get close to a number, a goal. You get close to closing a deal, but it doesn't happen. Bonuses, things like that. I always go back to if you had more opportunities, if you had done more in the time period to get you there, then you wouldn't be worrying about those things happening. So like in that situation, you could have never predicted that. And maybe in your situation, you're like, oh, I can't go after other ports because what we do is specifically here. But you got to look at it and say, like, how can we be diverse to where if one thing happens, it doesn't affect me as much? It only affects me a little. And maybe you guys have that, and that's why it's not killing you. But that's what it's all about, having so much out there to where little things, bumps in the road are going to happen, and it doesn't crush your car.
And we have a comment from Annette Colbin. And she says, actually, Kyle, I've found it's easier to find the companies/industries I'm looking to target in LinkedIn. Maybe some of those same companies don't always have quality SEO, so they aren't as easy to find.
Yeah, I think 100% agree on that. If you have Sales Navigator, you can niche down to like, these are my target demographic, these are my people, and maybe those people aren't Google searching, so your SEO doesn't matter as much. But yeah, to find companies, it's like, I want to build a list. Well, you can use Zoom Info, you can use Seamless based on SIC code, industry classifications, etc. Or you can go to LinkedIn and say company size, location, industries that they are in, looking for automotive suppliers because I want to supply those suppliers with parts and I want to be tier 3. They're making stuff. How do I find those people? Go to LinkedIn, pick industry, automotive, and then siphon through and be like, let me look at this list and who's a target and who isn't.
All right. And then we have a question from Adam Schmidt. As a company works on growing, how do you define your niche without alienating some potential clients?
Yeah, so that decision has got to come somewhat from the top. So that's what I'm saying is that what people do is, and this happened to me like 8 years ago. So I was like only industrial, only manufacturing, and then somehow we were ranking for some B2B stuff, and people started coming to us, and I was like, "Oh, you want to spend that much money with us? We can do what you're asking us to do. All right, let's do it." And then after like 6 to 12 months of working with companies that were not in the niche of industrial manufacturing, I was like, this sucks. Like, I'm not even excited about doing work in this industry. Like, it's not cool to me. Yeah, we're being successful, but that's like not what I'm about. I want to work with companies that make stuff or have a product that's technical in nature that is like, oh my God, we got this client. This is so cool. Like, that's what I was going after. So that's when it was probably year 3, maybe year 4. I said, you know what? Never again am I working with anybody that's not industrial. My revenue dropped because of that. There are opportunities out there, but my revenue dropped. And I had to make a decision, like, I'm willing to hunker down to find that specific people. So in your situation, you got to look at it and say, what is the niche? Like, what are we really good at? Have you ever done the exercise of ideal customer profile? Like the 80-20, 80% of your revenue coming from 20% of your customers right now. Those 20% of customers, like, how many of them do you love? Can you reverse engineer what it is that makes them an amazing customer for you, and go and get more companies like that? And looking at it and saying, we love working with this industry. We know that there's these things that are coming in that aren't like the perfect fit, but if you need the revenue, you can do it. But just know that's a small period of time that you want to focus on that. But really, your marketing and your messaging is, we're in this niche. We focus on these things. These are things we do really well. Could be super complex parts. Could be, oh, we're going to machine every single type of part and every single type of material, but only in this industry. So you kind of got to figure, what is our ideal North Star niche that we want to go into? What are the impacts that are going to happen with us saying that that's our niche? Well, revenue is going to drop off. These opportunities are missed. So you got to look into all that and say, like, is this niche right for us? Because if you've been in business for years and then you want to pick a niche, it can be more difficult because you're going to lose potential revenue. But you could just say, hey, moving forward, all of our branding, all of our marketing is going to be focused on this niche, this service, this product, et cetera, that we offer. I know that we already have customers that aren't really a perfect fit for that, but I don't want to lose revenue and then have to let go of employees or whatnot. So I'm going to keep doing that. But anybody new has to meet this criteria: ideal customer profile in the niche we're trying to focus on. And then from there, only say yes to those people while you have the rest of the people that aren't a fit, like, funding your business. And then as you get more in that niche, so you can start pushing people off, like, hey, sorry, but this isn't a fit for us anymore, from a revenue standpoint, focus, etc. Push them out after you get those new people.
And then Adam has a follow-up question. He says, does patience influence metrics?
Does patience influence metrics? Patience should be a mindset when looking at metrics. So yes, it will influence it to a certain extent. If you're like, hey, we wanted to go from 100 to a million, or from 1 million to 10 million, like there has to be a patient aspect to say, what are the milestones of me to get there realistically? Like to go from here to up here, like this line, what are the small micro chunks of milestones and small micro goals for me to go from here to here, right? And as long as you set those goals appropriately, those should have like a viewpoint through patience and a mindset of like, I'm going to be patient. I'm not expecting this to happen in like 2 years, but it could happen in like 7 years. Then you set your goals accordingly, and goals and can change and adjust. Like I just did it. I think it was 60 days ago. We did our quarterly review, and I changed the goal for the next 90 days from what I had 6 months ago. I don't like changing goals, but I was like, realistically, if we did hit this goal, there would be lots of issues with it that I don't want to deal with. So let's change that goal and let's do something a little bit more realistic.
And Tim Drinkwater has a question. If an existing business is going after a new niche, how do you put it under its, or excuse me, do you put it under its own brand, website, etc.?
So you can understand this, and I've done this personally myself. You can put it underneath its own website if it's completely different niche, if it's not even remotely associated with you, or so it's either if it's not remotely associated with you, or if you feel like that brand being in its niche and saying that's all that you do would be beneficial from a marketing, sales, and like penetration of the market standpoint. So if those are yes, like hey, like Tim in your situation, you want to start, and it could be something completely unrelated. You want to start, I don't know, building tools and dies, right? You want to start building dies for injection molding, and because you got the machines, you got the press time, and you got machines available, and you can build molds, and you know how to build molds. I'm not saying you do, but let's just say you do. I know how to build injection molds, and we have the equipment to do it, so we should do that. You could say we do CNC machining plus molds, or you could say Tim's Mold Shop, Tim's Plastic Injection Mold Shop is a completely separate brand. That's something you got to say. If it's related to you, then maybe you keep it under your brand. If it's something completely different, push it on its own. Understand this: new website, new domain authority, new brand, new voice. No one's going to know who you are. How long has the company been around for? Even if it's a new company. Oh, we were incorporated last year, but you got to do too much explaining when it comes to that. So if you did do a completely separate entity, or maybe you're going to say it's still going to be billed the same under Tim's shop, but the website client facing brand is going to be completely different. You can do that. Just understand that you're basically starting a company from scratch. But if that is required to show that you're focused in that niche, 1000% go all in. We used to have Industrial Sales University, used to be its own company, own brand. And after like 3 years of that, I was like, this is stupid. It's run by the same company. This is now just a product that MFG Tribe sells. We have a sales training platform that you can spend money to get access to that exclusive content. This is the dollar amount. It's a product that we sell under our brand. It makes sense. It's for salespeople that we work with every day on the marketing side and the manufacturing side. So it makes sense for it to be together. I wanted to keep it separate so that way it's got its own revenue stream, but we just do that in accounting to say this is what revenue that product is generating. So hopefully that answers the question.
All right. And then we have a comment from BAM Media.
Bam Media, what's up, brother?
It says sales seems especially tough this Q3, Q4. Not many people trying to spend heavy capital or propose new projects in this economy.
Yeah. So BAM, I don't know if it's necessarily the economy, because the economy has been the economy for the last few years. And I'm not saying it's better now than it was a few years ago, but it's because it's an election year. Like that's what it comes down to, is people are waiting for 38 days from now, 39 days from now to know who's going to be in office before they make their decision. Policy changes, what's going to happen with like how, if you get one side to come back, then you're going to be more optimistic that the economy is going to take a step in the right direction, and people are going to be more inclined to spend money, invest, because they know we're going to have 4 years of consistency with improvements, interest rates, etc., coming down. That's why people are holding off. Now, on the flip side, if the current situation stays the current situation, then people are going to be like, I mean, it is what it is. We know it sucks now. It sucked worse 12 months ago. It's either going to suck worse or suck a little less over the next 4 years. Make a decision based on that. But a lot of people are waiting. I mean, this is just typical across the board. Election years, especially in industrial and manufacturing. Presidential election years, once you get closer to it, people are like, I don't know what's going to happen. I want to spend the money. I mean, there's laws and bills that are out there to be passed, to be put into place with tax benefits on R&D and stuff like that are going to expire unless somebody steps in and says we're going to extend those. So a lot of companies are holding back to see who is going to be the leader in charge to possibly stop some BS that was done for the past 4 years that is going to hurt them financially, or rebates that are going to be removed if you don't have somebody that's going to say, no, we're going to keep that program going with tax rebates and R&D and investment, et cetera, and we're going to drive down interest rates by doing X, Y, and Z. If you don't have somebody that's do that, then people are just like waiting. And then once they get that answer, then they're going to show their cards and make their decision moving forward. But this is just how it is. Like I said, especially industrial manufacturing, presidential election years suck in Q3, Q4. But on the flip side of it, I always look at it, and we have clients that look at it like this. It's not going to be like come end of January, it's not going to be like, oh my God, everything's fixed. Or, oh my God, everything's a million times worse. That's not going to happen. It's going to happen over a period of time. So don't make decisions or hold off on decisions that you could see a potential positive upside to because you're waiting for that to happen, because it's not really going to impact you that drastically in the short term. Long term, yes. Short term, no. But it is what it is. Guys, hopefully you got value out of that. If you did, hit the subscribe button below, turn on notifications, follow me on LinkedIn, and if you want to listen to this in every major podcast platform, type in Industrial Sales and Marketing with me, and I'll see you on the next one.